We're in the rolling hills just north of Atlanta with Porsche driving the new Cayenne GTS.
We're also in our happy place. Let me hear it.
Hold on,
Let me
Zach.
hear it.
Hold on.
Let me hear it.
Oh boy, happy place or what?
No replacement for displacement. And we've got the 8-cylinder under the hood. It's turbocharged, lots of power. We're going to get into all those details in just a moment. So why are we in our happy place? We own 2 Porsche Cayennes. We've had 3 in total, but we're going to get into this GTS. What's under the hood of this thing?
A 4-liter twin-turbo V8 with an 8-speed Tiptronic S transmission, 493 horsepower and 486 pound-feet of torque. That's up 40 horsepower from the previous model, standard all-wheel drive, and you got to put premium fuel in this baby.
And it is a performance model with a top track speed with summer tires of 275 kilometers an hour or 171 miles an hour. The GTS goes 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.4 seconds. That's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4.2 seconds. So you've got Cayenne, Cayenne S, and the top model is Turbo GT, and slotting between S and the GT is this. Comes with a lot of standard stuff. Let's get into it.
The GTS comes standard with a 12.6-inch digital driver display, a 12.3-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a wireless charger, a 3D surround view monitor, a 14-speaker Bose sound system, Alcantara cloth and leatherette upholstery, power and heated GTS sport seats, driver's seat memory, a heated GT Sport steering wheel, and a power tailgate with gesture control.
Well, we're going to get into the interior in a moment and how they've moved things around. Not exactly to our liking, but what are we going to put it in, Andrea?
You got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrew to see what's up behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. So we're now into the rolling hills north of Atlanta, beautiful countryside, great place to showcase this car. Andrea, you have a Cayenne diesel as your daily driver.
Yeah.
Would you trade it in for this?
Yes, I would. 100% I would. This is...
Are you going to trade it in for this?
No.
Okay,
but
good.
This is dynamic, oh gosh, so engaging, athletic, sporty. The list goes on. It's an absolute blast to drive, and believe it or not, the comfort level is there too. It just doesn't beat you up.
Yeah, so we have 2 engineers. We have the head of the whole project here. Asked him this morning, what's the goal for Porsche when they develop an SUV? And basically it came down to they want to build a vehicle that is an all-world car that appeals to a mass of people. So depending on what setting you're in, depending on what trim you buy, depending on what options you get, you can get a very aggressive, sort of sports-focused one or a comfortable one. And I think GTS is kind of like the Goldilocks. It does everything really well.
Yeah, it's got some GT design elements for sure, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit more comfortable, then the Cayenne S might be the right option for you. This is a great combination between the GT and the Cayenne S.
So if you follow your Cayenne history from the one that arrived about 20 years ago now, the GT and the S used to have a V8, then they went to a Turbo 6, now they're back to a V8, and we got on a very deep discussion with the engineers today about why is that, and it basically boils down to the fact that they're able now with the modern technology available, like better direct injectors, all kinds of electronics, to get better fuel economy out of a V8 and better performance out of a V8 and just better emissions out of a V8. So why not go with a V8?
Absolutely. And we see a lot of manufacturers going to Turbo 4s now. And it was actually refreshing to hear the engineers say, you know what, we can actually get all of those elements with improved fuel economy out of a V8.
Not from a 4-cylinder to a V8,
no,
but from a V6 to a V8.
Yes.
I think if you went from a Turbo 4 to this, you'd notice a difference.
But I like the idea of a V8, especially for towing. If you're hauling something, it makes a big difference. And I just think longevity is there. Now, this GTS model comes standard with air suspension, and that includes Porsche Active Suspension Management, as well as Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus.
Yeah, those are things you would have to tick on lower grade cars. So air suspension is a big one, and it's got a 2-stage damper as well, depending on how aggressively you're driving it. It changes depending, it has all the sensors, it knows if you're wanting to be a little more excitable, and it changes the suspension for that. Plus you have all of the manual overrides you can do. So yeah, you can really tailor this for your everyday needs. We've been driving it mostly in sport. Now the roads here in Georgia are very nice, so we're enjoying a nice comfortable ride. But I would say even on bumpy conditions, it's going to be fine.
Well, I'm just surprised how refined it feels for a GTS model. The cabin is quieter than I expected. The sound is amazing. Steering feels very precise, especially when you're on those twisty roads, and braking is excellent.
So this is closer to the Turbo GT. The product line manager that was here today said this has a lot of attributes similar to the Turbo GT: suspension, steering components. The steering wheel is the same, so you get a lot of that just with less power.
Now this GTS model sits a little lower than the other Cayennes, 10 millimeters or just under ½ an inch. So you really have that planted feel. And one thing I love about Porsche SUVs is that it feels more like you're driving a sports car. And I think that that's tough to achieve. My expectations when I get into Porsches are very high, and this does not disappoint.
So with air suspension, you're able to make it stiffer. And you're also able to raise and lower the suspension. When you're on the highway, it drops down for aerodynamics. When you're going off-road, you can raise it up. You can use all of that to your advantage depending on what you're using it for. So this is designed to do Sport Plus, Nürburgring, and then comfort for those bumpy Quebec or Winnipeg roads.
What I've got to say is our Cayenne, and it's an older model, it's amazing in the snow. And I think that that just gives people a lot of confidence. In the winter, if you're dealing with heavy snow or you're going up to the cottage and you're on a trail, it's just a great all-rounder.
So we also have a first generation Cayenne GTS. When the GTS nomenclature was put on a Cayenne, we have that first one, and it's miles away from this when it comes to refinement. You know, it's just interesting to see just how far cars have come in the last 10 or 15 years. It's still got a lot of the same attributes, but really in two different worlds.
Oh, I mean, the suspension is way firmer in that one. You really feel the bumps in the road. You can see that Porsche has really tuned this for comfort level, but also fun, sportiness, engaging, all those things that you expect from a Porsche. I've always been a big fan of the exterior of Porsche models, and this one is no exception. Porsche's done a nice job. It's handsome, it's sporty looking. I like it a lot. There are some differences between this GTS model and the previous model. Things like the sport exhaust system. You've got bronze or dark bronze tailpipes instead of black. And the wheels are 21-inch RS Spyder design wheels in gray this time instead of black.
And also the wheel arches now are a high gloss black. If you want, of course you can get back to the fully painted exterior panels, but that's an option. You got to pay extra for that. I think that's a bit cheeky, Andrea, because it used to come standard with the all monochrome exterior. Now you want it, you got to pay more. But there you go.
And the GTS model, of course, has all the black exterior accents, upping the sportiness of the exterior design. This GTS model has 7.4 inches of ground clearance and comes standard with HD Matrix tinted LED headlamps with 64,000 camera-controlled pixels, tinted LED tail lamps with, of course, the light bar, which is one of my favorite parts, the Porsche spelled out across the back, a sport exhaust, the GTS badging, 21-inch RS Spyder design wheels, and a 20-inch collapsible spare wheel.
So far, the way it drives, the way it looks, 10 out of 10, right, Andrea?
10 out of 10.
And then we turn our attention to the inside, and I would give this an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
The functionality of the interior is second to none. We've owned 3 Cayennes, and the reason why we love them so much is they are the perfect luxury family hauler. Kids can get in the back. The cargo space is great. We're going to show you all of that in a moment. But where it kind of falls down a little bit is the center console here. They moved the shifter up onto the dash, and there's still quite a bit of the shiny hard plastic plastic that we just don't love.
Yeah, we don't love the high gloss piano black, and I'm not crazy about the shifter where it is, but I have heard from viewers who own a Cayenne and say, Andrea, it's not that bad. You get used to it. Now, these seats are really comfortable. We're actually in the base GTS model, so we've got a combination of cloth, race tex, which is Porsche's Alcantara, and then leatherette seats. I mean, we're kind of missing maybe Alcantara and leather instead of going with these cloth inserts.
Well, that's what's changed over the generations.
Yeah.
So the one that we have, the first generation, it was leather on the bolsters and full Alcantara in the center of the seats. And now they've kind of brought that down a step, but it's all to get you to spend more money. You can get all of that, you just got to spend extra. You want the fender flares on the outside to be color matched the body, you pay extra. You want that full leather and Alcantara, you can get it. It's just not standard any longer.
You want the panoramic sunroof, you're going to pay extra for that. What is standard are these integrated screens, and I think Porsche's done a really nice job with integration. I like it a lot, especially when we're seeing a lot of screens sitting up and over the dash or a big one at the center console. They've gone with a digital driver display, so analog is gone, but they did a good job with it.
But this is mimicking the 911 dash, this flat dash here with the integrated screen, and with so many stuck on top, this does look clean and modern. It's just the shiny stuff below it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they could fix that, I could get used to the shifter, but that I'm not loving.
And I also like that, you know, not everything is done in the dash. You've got your drive modes on the steering wheel. You have your temperature, your HVAC system here. So that is a bonus when we see a lot of new vehicles coming out with everything being done in the screen. I like the size of these screens. The available 10.9-inch passenger screen, which we have in our test model. The center is 12.3 inches and the digital driver display is 12.6 inches.
But the level of materials that they use on the doors and everything is first rate, and you know, we've owned 3 of these. They hold up. Like they take a lot of family use, and they still look the same years later.
And if you've ever been on the Porsche website, there are so many different configurations. You want to go with a different color, different seat belts, different upholstery, different trim pieces. You got it. You can make this GTS your own.
As I always say, all you need, Andrea, is money and imagination.
Yeah, you can even get a carbon fiber roof.
You can even do a custom exterior color. All you need is money and imagination.
Yeah.
Available features include ventilated front and rear seats, massaging seats, heated rear seats, adaptive sports seats, 14-way or 18-way power front sports seats, Burmester 3D surround sound system, rear seat entertainment, and adaptive cruise control. Here's me getting in the back seat. This latest generation is larger than previous Cayennes. It is perfect for a family. You get plenty of legroom, plenty of headroom. How does the rear cargo stack up?
Cargo space behind the second row for the Cayenne is 27.3 cubic feet, and overall cargo space is 60.3 cubic feet. Comparing it to the BMW X5, it's the X5 that offers more space.
So this vehicle is going to go on sale in the fall. You can order it now. We don't have the official fuel economy numbers, but here's what we do have in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. This is MSRP. In Canada, it starts at just under $135,000, and in the US, just under $125,000. The coupe starts at just under $140,000 in Canada, and in the US, just over $129,000.
Fuel economy will be released closer to its on-sale date. Towing capacity is strong at 7,700 pounds. Porsche offers a warranty of 4 years, 80,000 kilometers, or 50,000 miles. So say you want a high-performance mid-size SUV. What else can you buy?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the BMW X5M Competition with a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. 617 horsepower, and a starting price of $142,000.
The Mercedes-Benz AMG GLE 63 with a 4-liter V8 bi-turbo, 603 horsepower, and a starting price of $162,000.
The Audi SQ8 with a 4-liter turbocharged V8, 500 horsepower, and a starting price of almost $130,000.
The Range Rover Sport SV with a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8, 626 horsepower, and a starting price of almost $240,000.
So there are 4 high-performance SUVs for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we like to see improved.
Well, I love the way this handles. Incredible.
The power does not suck.
What I'd like to see is less piano black in here. I just don't like that design element.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, we agree.
Well, there you go. That's the Cayenne GTS. What do you think of that?
Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.